There is a kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix, a weariness that settles not in the body, but in the soul. The Book of Proverbs opens as an invitation to that kind of tired heart. Not with commands shouted loudly, not with pressure to perform, but with wisdom offered gently, like a father speaking to a child at the end of a long day. The Proverbs of Solomon, written not just to inform the mind, but to shape the heart. Proverbs tells us why wisdom exists: for gaining understanding, for learning what is right and just and fair, for guiding the young and steadying the discerning. In other words, wisdom is meant to help us live without constantly crashing into life. Then comes one of the most important lines in all of Scripture. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. This fear is not terror, it is reverence. It is knowing God is real, present, and trustworthy. It is the relief of no longer pretending you are in control. True rest begins here, when the soul stops fighting reality and starts listening. Proverbs speaks again and again with a gentle phrase. My son, not accusation, not condemnation, but relationship. Wisdom is not shouted from heaven. It is taught patiently over time. The Father warns about voices that entice, voices that promise quick gain, easy paths, shared rewards without consequences. They say, come with us, join us. No one will know. But wisdom whispers something quieter. Do not walk that road, not because God wants to restrict you, but because He wants to protect you. Proverbs says those paths ultimately ambush the ones who walk them. They promise freedom, but quietly steal life. Then the tone shifts. Wisdom is no longer private instruction. She lifts her voice publicly. Out in the open, wisdom calls aloud. This is important. God's wisdom is not hidden in secret codes. It is not reserved for the elite. It is calling in plain sight, in everyday decisions, in repeated patterns, in gentle warnings we often ignore. Wisdom asks a painful question. How long will you love being simple? Not as an insult, but as concern. There is a kind of simplicity that refuses to learn, a comfort with not growing, a habit of avoiding correction. Wisdom says, if you listen now, I will pour out understanding. If you keep refusing, life itself will become the teacher, and life is a harder teacher. Then comes a promise many people overlook. Whoever listens to me will live in safety and be at ease, without fear of harm. Notice what wisdom offers. Not wealth, not ease, but rest without fear. This is why Proverbs belongs in a Relax series. Wisdom quiets anxiety because it aligns the soul with reality. Proverbs 2 continues gently. If you accept my words and store up my commands within you. Wisdom is not instant. It is stored, collected slowly, applied patiently. It asks us to seek it, like silver, like hidden treasure. And then comes a truth that changes everything. For the Lord gives wisdom. Wisdom is not self-made. It is received. God is not watching to see if you are smart enough. He is waiting to give. He is described as a shield, a guard, a protector of paths. Wisdom does not remove danger. It teaches you how to walk through life without constantly falling. It guards you from words that twist truth, from paths that look exciting but lead to darkness, from choices that feel good short-term but destroy peace long-term. Then Proverbs says something deeply comforting. Wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Pleasant, not heavy, not exhausting, not overwhelming. True wisdom does not burden the soul. It settles it. It brings clarity, boundaries, direction, and with direction comes rest. because much of our anxiety comes from not knowing which way to go. Proverbs ends this section with a quiet contrast. The upright remain. The unfaithful are removed, not as punishment, but as consequence. One way builds stability, the other erodes it. Wisdom is simply choosing the path that allows the soul to breathe. And this is where rest begins, not in escaping life, but in walking wisely within it. There is a moment every tired soul reaches when effort no longer helps. You have thought enough, planned enough, carried enough. Proverbs 3 begins exactly there. My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commands in your heart. Wisdom does not shout for attention. It asks to be remembered, because what we forget, we repeat. And what we remember, we are shaped by. Then comes a promise that sounds almost too gentle to believe. They will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity. Not hurried life, not crowded life, but a life with peace in it. Proverbs links wisdom not just to longevity, but to quality of living. Then the text offers two companions every anxious heart needs. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Love keeps the heart soft. Faithfulness keeps it steady. Together, they form a rhythm of trust, one that allows the soul to rest without becoming careless. And then comes one of the most famous lines in all of Scripture. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This is not an insult to intelligence. It is an invitation to humility. Because our understanding is limited, situational, emotionally influenced. God's wisdom sees the whole path. Leaning on yourself feels strong until you realize how heavy you've been carrying everything alone. Proverbs says, in all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Notice the gentleness of this promise. Not perfect paths, not easy paths, but clear paths. So much anxiety comes from uncertainty, from not knowing which direction is safe. Wisdom does not remove all obstacles. It removes unnecessary confusion. Then Proverbs gently warns, do not be wise in your own eyes. Self-confidence becomes dangerous when it hardens into self-reliance. Wisdom grows best in a heart that remains teachable. And then comes a promise many overlook. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones. Wisdom affects the body. Restlessness, resentment, pride, and fear all take a physical toll. But trust, real trust, relaxes the nervous system of the soul. Then Proverbs speaks about honor and discipline. Honor the Lord with your wealth, not as pressure, but as alignment. What we honor reveals what we trust. And then comes one of the most misunderstood lines. Do not despise the Lord's discipline. Discipline is not rejection, it is direction. Correction does not mean you are failing. It means you are being guided. Because the Lord disciplines those he loves. Love that never corrects is not love at all. Then Proverbs turns poetic. Blessed are those who find wisdom. Why? Because wisdom is more valuable than silver, more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire compares with her. Why? Because wisdom gives what money cannot. Long life, honor, peace. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. Not excitement, not chaos. Peace. Then Proverbs offers one of the most tender promises in Scripture. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Sweet sleep, not restless sleep, not anxious sleep, not sleep filled with replayed conversations and imagined futures. Sleep that rests because the soul is not standing guard all night, Have no fear of sudden disaster. Wisdom does not deny reality. It anchors you through it. For the Lord will be at your side. Not ahead shouting commands, not behind criticizing, at your side. And that is the posture of rest. Proverbs 3 does not promise a life without trouble. It promises a life not ruled by fear. Because when wisdom walks with you, you no longer have to carry tomorrow into tonight. And that is where deep rest begins. Proverbs 4 speaks to a world that feels noisy, rushed, and divided. It opens again with the voice of a father. Not demanding, not impatient, but steady. Listen, my sons, to a father's instruction. Wisdom is passed down through relationship. It is not forced. It is offered. Solomon remembers his own childhood. Being taught gently, being told what truly matters. This matters because wisdom grows best when it is received in safety. Then the instruction becomes clear and simple. Get wisdom, get understanding. Not someday, not when life slows down. Now, because wisdom is not an accessory to life. It is the foundation that keeps life from falling apart. Proverbs says, "Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you." Protection here is not dramatic rescue. It is quiet prevention. Wisdom keeps you from walking into what will later wound you. Love her, and she will watch over you. This is an invitation to intimacy, to stay close to wisdom, to listen often, to choose carefully. Then Proverbs gives a powerful image. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter to the full light of day. Notice how growth is described. Not sudden, not blinding, gradual, like dawn. In Canada, winter mornings arrive slowly. Darkness lifts little by little. Light grows without force. That is how a wise life forms, not by perfection, but by direction. The contrast is sharp. The way of the wicked is like deep darkness, not because they are evil monsters, but because they cannot see what makes them stumble. Many people are not rebellious, they are simply walking without light. Then the tone softens again. My son, pay attention to what I say. Attention is spiritual discipline. What you repeatedly listen to shapes how you live. Proverbs urges us, do not let wisdom out of your sight. Keep it within your heart. Because wisdom that stays only in the mind does not last. Then comes one of the most important lines in the entire book. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This is not fear, it is care. The heart is the source of words, of choices, of reactions, of restlessness or peace. Guarding the heart does not mean closing it. It means tending it, not allowing every voice to speak loudly inside you, not letting every emotion take the wheel. Then Proverbs becomes very practical. Keep your mouth free of perversity. Words reveal the heart's condition. Gentle speech often comes from a guarded heart. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Where you focus determines where you go. Distraction exhausts the soul. Give careful thought to the paths for your feet. Wisdom asks us to slow down before choosing direction. Not every option deserves equal consideration. Then Proverbs says something deeply calming. Do not turn to the right or the left. This is not rigidity. It is steadiness. Much anxiety comes from constantly switching paths, starting over, second-guessing, replaying decisions. Wisdom invites you to walk forward calmly, not hurried, not panicked, not pulled in 10 directions, just forward. Proverbs 4 teaches that peace does not come from avoiding all danger. It comes from walking with light, from choosing a path that grows clearer over time, from guarding the heart so life flows cleanly from it. The wise life is not dramatic. It is steady, quiet, brightening. And when you walk this way long enough, you begin to notice something. The soul rests more easily because it knows where it is going. There are parts of life where wisdom speaks most softly, not because the subject is small, but because the heart is vulnerable. Proverbs 5-7 speak into desire, temptation, and discipline with a tone that is protective, not condemning. Again, the voice returns. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Not because desire is bad, but because unmanaged desire can quietly steal peace. Proverbs describes temptation as something smooth, attractive, inviting. It does not arrive loudly. It whispers. Her lips drip honey. This is how temptation works. It highlights pleasure and hides consequence. Wisdom does the opposite. It reveals where a path ends. Proverbs says, in the end, she is bitter as gall. Not as threat, but as truth. Wisdom is love that tells the truth early so pain does not have to teach it later. Then Proverbs gives practical counsel. Keep to a path far from her. This is important. Wisdom does not rely on willpower alone. It creates distance. Boundaries are not signs of weakness. They are signs of self-respect. They allow the soul to rest because it is not constantly negotiating danger. Then comes a beautiful redirection. Drink water from your own cistern. Faithfulness is not portrayed as deprivation, but as nourishment. What is yours when honored becomes a source of joy rather than restlessness. Wisdom protects desire by giving it a safe home. Proverbs 6 continues with everyday wisdom about debt, laziness, integrity. It tells us to observe the ant, not to shame us, but to teach rhythm. Preparation reduces anxiety. Discipline done gently prevents panic later. Then Proverbs lists behaviors God hates, not to burden the listener, but to clarify what disrupts community and peace. Pride, lies, violence, conflict. These things fracture rest because they fracture trust. Then Proverbs 7 tells a story. A young person, twilight, curiosity, a lack of direction. The story unfolds slowly, not to sensationalize, but to warn. Wisdom shows us how quickly small choices become irreversible momentum. Like an ox going to the slaughter. This is not mockery, it is grief. The young man does not see what is happening, and that is exactly the danger. Then wisdom raises her voice again. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Listen before the moment arrives. Listen before desire blurs discernment. Wisdom's role is not to remove desire, but to protect life. Proverbs ends this section with a sobering image. Her house is a highway to the grave. Not because desire is evil, but because desire without wisdom becomes destructive. And yet, woven through all of this is gentleness. Wisdom is not scolding, she is guarding. She stands like a watchful presence at the door of the heart, not to lock it shut, but to keep it safe. Discipline in Proverbs is not punishment. It is preservation. It keeps love intact. It keeps integrity whole. It keeps sleep undisturbed. Because when boundaries are clear, the soul does not live on edge. It rests. Proverbs 5:7 teach us something countercultural. Freedom is not found in indulgence. It is found in wisdom-guided desire. And wisdom, when listened to early, spares the heart many restless nights. There are moments in Scripture when wisdom stops sounding like advice, begins sounding like presence. Proverbs 8 is one of those moments. Wisdom is no longer simply something to learn. She becomes someone who speaks. Does not wisdom call out? She does not whisper in hidden places. She calls openly at crossroads, at gates where decisions are made. Wisdom wants to be heard before choices are made, not after. She speaks to everyone, not just the intelligent, not just the religious, but to all humanity. You who are simple, gain prudence. This is not insult, it is invitation. Wisdom says, you do not need to be clever, you need to be willing. Then wisdom describes herself, truthful, straight, just, nothing twisted, nothing manipulative. Choose my instruction instead of silver. Because wisdom gives what money cannot, direction, peace, clarity. Then wisdom reveals her character. To fear the Lord is to hate evil, not to fear people, not to fear failure, but to respect what destroys life enough to turn away from it. Wisdom says she possesses counsel, insight, sound judgment. By her, leaders rule well, order is maintained, justice is preserved. Then comes a stunning revelation. The Lord brought me forth as the first of his works. Wisdom existed before mountains, before oceans, before sky and land. She stood beside God during creation. I was filled with delight day after day. This matters. Creation was not rushed, not chaotic, it was joyful. Wisdom was present when God formed the world, which means wisdom is woven into reality itself. Living wisely is not swimming upstream, it is moving with the grain of creation. Then wisdom says something tender, rejoicing in the human race. Before you were anxious, before you were tired, before you struggled, God delighted in humanity. Wisdom wants to lead you back into that original harmony. Then Proverbs 9 places two invitations side by side. Wisdom builds a house. She prepares a table. She sends servants to call, "Come, eat my food." This is hospitality, not demand. Eat, be nourished, leave simple ways and live. Then folly appears. She also calls. But her offer is shallow. Stolen water is sweet. Shortcuts, secrets. Pleasure without accountability. But Proverbs tells us the truth gently. Her guests do not know they are stepping into death. Wisdom offers life openly. Folly offers excitement secretly. Only one brings rest. Proverbs 9 ends where Proverbs began. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And wisdom rewards those who listen, not with noise, not with chaos, but with life. This section reminds us, wisdom is not cold logic. It is God's way of inviting us back into alignment with creation, back into peace, back into rest. Proverbs 10 marks a gentle shift. The long teachings give way to short sayings, simple lines, like slow footsteps on a quiet path. These proverbs are not meant to rush past. They are meant to settle. They speak into ordinary life, work, speech, relationships, emotions, the places where peace is either built or quietly eroded. Proverbs begins by contrasting wisdom and foolishness in the most personal way. A wise child brings joy. A foolish child brings grief. Wisdom does not live in theory. It shows up in how our lives affect others. Then Proverbs says something deeply grounding. The Lord does not let the righteous go hungry, not a promise of excess, but of provision. Wisdom learns to trust that God sees what is needed before panic sets in. Work appears again and again. Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. This is not about pressure, it is about rhythm. Wisdom works steadily, not anxiously. Then comes one of the most repeated themes, words. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life. Words can refresh, they can heal, they can nourish, or they can wound. Hatred stirs up conflict, but love covers over all wrongs. Wisdom does not need to expose every flaw. It knows when to speak and when to remain quiet. Proverbs reminds us, sin is not ended by multiplying words. An anxious heart often talks too much. A wise heart learns restraint. Then comes a line that speaks directly to rest. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely. Much anxiety comes from hiding, from managing appearances, from fear of being found out. Integrity removes that burden. You sleep better when your life is aligned. Proverbs continues, when the storm has swept by, the wicked are gone, but the righteous stand firm forever. Storms come to everyone. Wisdom does not prevent storms. It builds foundations. Then Proverbs 11 expands the picture. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility comes wisdom. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking honestly. Wisdom grows best in a heart that can learn. Then comes a gentle truth. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. This is one of the quiet secrets of peace. Giving loosens the grip of fear. Generosity reminds the soul that it is not alone in the world. Then Proverbs 12 speaks plainly about discipline. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge. Discipline here is not harshness. It is openness to growth. Correction becomes painful only when pride refuses it. Then comes one of the most tender verses in Proverbs. Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. Notice how simply wisdom addresses anxiety, not with arguments, not with analysis, but with kindness. A gentle word, a calm presence. A reminder that you are not carrying life alone. Then Proverbs returns to speech. The words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Wisdom speaks with awareness. It knows when silence heals. It knows when words restore. Truth spoken gently settles the nervous heart. Proverbs 10:12 teach us something important. Rest is not created only in big decisions. It is built in small ones, in how we speak, in how we work, in how we respond, in how we listen. Wisdom does not demand perfection. It invites consistency. And consistency brings peace. Because when daily life is aligned with wisdom, the soul is not constantly bracing itself. It rests, even in ordinary days. Proverbs 13 begins with something simple yet deeply revealing. A wise child listens to instruction. Wisdom begins with listening. Not rushing to defend, not rushing to explain, but staying open. Many restless hearts are simply tired of not being heard, or of not listening to themselves. Then Proverbs reminds us, those who guard their lips preserve their lives. Peace often begins with what we choose not to say. Then comes a verse that speaks directly to weariness. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. Delayed hope is heavy. Waiting longer than expected, prayers unanswered, dreams postponed. Wisdom does not deny the ache, but it adds, a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. Hope is meant to be nourished, not crushed. Wisdom teaches patience without numbing desire. Then Proverbs offers relational guidance. Walk with the wise and become wise. Rest is influenced by companionship. Some voices calm the soul, others agitate it. Wisdom invites discernment, not isolation. Proverbs 14 shifts focus to the inner life. The wise woman builds her house, not with noise, not with force, but with intention. A peaceful home begins with a peaceful heart. Then Proverbs says, whoever fears the Lord walks uprightly. The fear of the Lord creates inner alignment. It removes the pressure to constantly prove yourself. Because when God's approval matters most, human approval loosens its grip. Then comes one of the most gentle truths in Proverbs. A heart at peace gives life to the body. Peace is not passive. It is life-giving. Stress drains, anxiety tightens, but peace restores. Then Proverbs offers realism. There is a way that appears right, but in the end, it leads to death. Wisdom requires humility. Not every feeling is a guide. Not every desire leads to life. Discernment protects the heart from confusion. Then Proverbs speaks about patience. Whoever is patient has great understanding. Patience slows the nervous system. It allows space between impulse and action. That space is where wisdom lives. Then Proverbs returns to kindness. Blessed is the one who is kind to the needy. Kindness softens the heart. A soft heart rests easier than a hardened one. Then comes a verse full of quiet strength. Whoever fears the Lord has a secure fortress. Security is not control, it is trust. Wisdom builds a refuge inside the soul that circumstances cannot easily shake. Then Proverbs speaks again of fear and life. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life. A fountain does not run dry quickly. It refreshes repeatedly. Wisdom does not remove hardship, but it renews strength. Proverbs 13-14 teach us that peace is not weakness. It is resilience. A heart that rests in wisdom is not fragile. It is grounded. And when the heart is grounded, life does not need to be rushed. Proverbs 15 feels like a slow exhale after a long conversation. The tone is calm, measured, gentle. It begins with a sentence that has ended many conflicts and could have prevented many sleepless nights. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Wisdom begins with gentleness, not because gentleness is weak, but because it is powerful enough to slow down anger. Harsh words escalate, gentle words disarm. Then Proverbs reminds us, the tongue of the wise adorns knowledge. Wisdom is not only what you know, it is how you carry it. Truth spoken harshly still wounds. Truth spoken gently heals. Then comes a comforting truth. The eyes of the Lord are everywhere. This is not surveillance, it is assurance. Nothing is unseen, nothing is overlooked. You do not have to explain everything. God already knows. Then Proverbs contrasts two paths. A fool spurns a parent's discipline, but whoever heeds correction shows prudence. Correction is not rejection. It is guidance offered to those who are loved. Then comes a line many tired hearts need. A happy heart makes the face cheerful, but heartache crushes the spirit. Wisdom cares about the heart, not image, not appearance, the inner life. Then Proverbs offers perspective. Better a little with the fear of the Lord than great wealth with turmoil. Peace is worth more than excess. Quiet is richer than noise. Then wisdom speaks about patience again. A hot-tempered person stirs up conflict, but the one who is patient calms a quarrel. Patience creates emotional safety. Safety allows rest. Then comes one of the most healing truths in Proverbs. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Wisdom does not isolate. It invites community. Sharing burdens lightens them. Then Proverbs speaks of words again. A person finds joy in giving an apt reply. Right words at the right time are a gift. Then the chapter moves toward its final grounding. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. Prayer is not performance, it is connection. God listens. Then Proverbs ends with humility. Wisdom's instruction is to fear the Lord, and humility comes before honor. Humility slows the soul. It removes the pressure to arrive, to impress, to prove. And in that slowness, rest becomes possible. The first 15 chapters of Proverbs do not promise a life without trouble. They promise a life guided by wisdom, anchored in reverence, shaped by gentleness, protected by discernment. Wisdom teaches us how to live without constant inner tension, how to speak without wounding, how to desire without destroying, how to work without exhausting the soul, how to rest without guilt. True relaxation does not come from escaping life. It comes from living wisely within it. As you rest now, let wisdom settle into your heart. Let gentleness soften your thoughts. Let trust quiet your worries. Let humility release the need to control. And may the wisdom of God guard your heart, steady your path, and give you deep, peaceful rest. Take a moment and breathe. Which verse or idea from Proverbs spoke peace to your heart tonight? Was it about trusting the Lord, guarding your heart, gentle words, or letting go of anxiety? Share your reflection below. Your words may bring rest to someone else who needs it tonight.